Well, good evening, everyone. It's a Monday, but I'm going to be doing more weather extras this week because a lot of you are interested in Hurricane Matthew and what may be going on along the coastline and whether we're going to have any effects from it. Hurricane Matthew is a Category 4 storm. It is the strongest storm that's been in the Caribbean in a long time. It is going to be passing between Jamaica and Haiti. You know, the interesting thing is I'm hearing all about the reports of Jamaica. But believe it or not, Haiti is on the side of the storm that actually is going to get more effects from it. It is forecasted by the Hurricane Center to be a major hurricane passing by the eastern tip of Cuba and then moving northwestward along the Bahamas. That's a pretty big issue. There's a couple of islands there that's going to be hitting, and they're going to get a surge from the storm that they usually wouldn't get. And the Hurricane Center keeps it as a major hurricane. Anywhere, please don't focus just on the center point of it. That's the center point. Anywhere in that cone of uncertainty where they think the storm can be, which includes the coast of Florida, also the coast of Georgia, though at the Penn State game, I ran into someone who I see often from the Savannah area, and I thought it would be east of there, but obviously we're going to be keeping an eye on that. And then the coast of North Carolina. So if we go ahead and take a look at the tropical storm force wind probabilities from the National Hurricane Center, obviously we're going to have hurricane force winds and tropical storm force winds for Haiti and the Bahamas. And then, you know, we're going to have to watch the coastline. No matter what, at the very least, there's going to be a lot of rough coastal waves and beach erosion from this storm system. All right. Let's break down the models. That's one of the things I do here on the Weather Extras. And we have that big high that is kind of blocking our weather and keeping us in a nice weather pattern. And if you notice, I always talk about that zone of niceness where you have a lot of subsidence outside of tropical systems. And yeah, that's where we're going to be for a good portion of the week. Now, I want you to pay attention. And again, this is the GFS model, and it is just skimming by the coast of Florida. The good news is the strongest side of the storm would be the eastern side of the storm, which would be offshore. Unfortunate for the Bahamas, but that is better news for Florida. But again, things could change. And then the GFS brings the storm right to the coast, right at Myrtle Beach, right along, and then hooks it out to the Outer Banks. Now, for us, what I want you to focus in on, and I always talk about this with tropical systems. Here's a point where I'll go ahead and draw. Right there is a front. Now that front is going to be a focal point to what's going to happen for us. Now that front gets slowed up by Matthew. There's Saturday evening though, and on the GFS, it links up the moisture with that front, brings some rainfall. I mean, it's got an inch of rainfall by Saturday evening here, and really kicking in. And there's Saturday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So heavier rainfall comes because that front, and there you go, 6Z, which is 2 in the morning Saturday night. Look at that heavy rainfall. And don't be fooled, those are millimeters actually. On the sideline there, or centimeters, I'm sorry. But still, we're going to have some heavy rainfall if that moisture gets linked up with that front, and that front stalls across us, and then it clears us by Sunday, and then we cool off and another big high moves in. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other models. Here is the Canadian. Same thing, a little farther to the east, which would be good news. It actually takes it east of some of the islands in the Bahamas, which means they'll be on the weaker side of the storm. That would be good news. Brushes by the coastline and then moves it on shore right over the Outer Banks. And that front gets held up more, but then we get some more just easterly flow moisture coming on in with the Canadian, with just this flow of air, tropical air. And the front just gets disconnected. So, you know, that's the Canadian. Let me go ahead and just show you the European on this one site here. And again, there's only limited of what I can show you in the European, but there's the storm system, the European, brings it again, keeps it offshore, keeps it over that warm water, and makes the turn just like the GFS. So we have a tremendous amount of agreement with the models. The one thing I want you to focus in on is that front is bare on the European. You know, we do have that front back here. But if you notice, the moisture doesn't get linked up. Honestly, I'm not sure I buy that as much. I do think that front will tap some of the moisture and we'll have some rainfall. We'll obviously have a much better feel as time gets closer. Tune in tonight on WTAJ News at 11. I'll have all the details of more of your short-term forecast, talk about some fog and other things. So I'll see you tonight at 11.